In the previous video, I showed how to make an app bash cipher. And in the program that I was making earlier, where I was providing information about the basic types of cryptography, there's an area there where I could use that as an example. But I want to give users the choice. I don't want to just load it. I want them to be able to say, yes, I want to see an example, and actually even run it, or no, I don't. And that requires control flow, which essentially means that you're able to control the order that things are run in a program, as well as if some things are run or aren't run at all. So there's two main types that I want to talk about. So you have conditionals. That's where one thing happens or the other thing happens. So on the right here, I have this little flowchart diagram. And at the start, it goes straight down to if B. And if it's true, then we run B. And if it's false, then we run A instead. That would be an if-else type of situation. Now we have these in our life every day, so it's not some concept that you're not used to. You just might not be used to thinking of it like that. You know, if you're at work and you're checking the time and the time happens to be 5, or I suppose greater than or equal to 5 actually would be more accurate, then you go home, and if not, you stay, right? So it's one or the other. This could be the same thing with shopping too. So, you know, if you go to the store and they have two different versions of something and you see that one's nicer than the other, you know, if you have enough money, you buy the nicer one. If you don't, you don't. You buy the less expensive one. If you're driving home, traffic's really bad on one street, you take a different one, right? So one or the other, conditional. So we have these sorts of things all the time. The other one is loops. So it's about how many times you do something, doing something over and over again. Now, it doesn't always have to be a lot of times. It could even just be once or twice, depending on the situation. So in this little flowchart example here, I have start, and then if not A is true, then we go this way, and A becomes true. And so then we go back up here, and if not A, since A is now true, we take this other route, where it runs A. If at the very start, not A is false, then we run A to begin with. Now, that example might seem a little confusing, and even just saying it felt kind of confusing, and that's okay. We'll play with some of this logic stuff more as we go through. But a more practical example would be like if you walk into a room and it's dark and the lamp is off. If that statement is true, you go down this way and you turn the lamp on, and we go back up to the start. Lamp is not off, so we go this way and we enter the room, right? From the very start, if we enter the room and lamp being off is false, then we just enter the room and we don't have to turn it on, right? So, but there are other situations as well. There are some that are more persistent. So like if you're working or whatever and you're not hungry, for as long as that's true, you keep working. And so this keeps going around and around until you eventually notice that you are hungry, and then we go this way and you go eat, right? If you're driving down the freeway and you haven't reached your exit yet, you keep driving until you've reached your exit, then you exit the freeway, right? So loops might be something that you do multiple times, where you're actively paying attention to how many times you're doing it, or it might be some sort of persistent state where you do something until something is no longer the case, until something is no longer true. Now, how would I use these types of ideas in the program that I made? So the example that I gave at the start would be some sort of conditional statement. If the user wants to know something or wants to see something, then I provide that information. Otherwise, I don't. So to kind of show what that would look like in a diagram, I'm going to use the YEd graph editor, which is free to use online. And I can do this online version and launch. And it just takes a moment or two. It's fairly speedy. All right, so in here you have lots of different ways that you can make diagrams. I was showing you flowcharts, so I'm going to use the flowchart nodes. So at the start, we'll use this. Let's make it a little bigger. And then we'll have a question, which we'll use this little diamond shape like I was using earlier. We'll put it to there, and let's see. I want to use an arrow to connect the two. So we'll just bring that down to here. And so this is start. And here we'll ask if they want to learn about substitutional or transitional. So substitutional or transpositional ciphers. And all that doesn't fit, does it? There we go, that's decent. And I created an example of a substitutional one, but I haven't of a transpositional one yet. So this one will just be a regular procedure block. This one, however, will be another diamond. All right. And we'll draw an arrow to this one as well. There we go. So this will be, ooh, actually, because it's going to be printing, it should actually be the slanty one. There we go. All right. So print info on transpositional ciphers. Hey, it all fits. This one will be a choice. Example. And either way, it's going to be an output situation. It's going to print one way or another. Now, I'm kind of simplifying this because there's extra steps sort of in between all of these, like asking the user's input along each step, but that's okay. So this will be print substitutional info. And this will be print substitutional info plus example. And then, no matter what, at the very end, the program will end, right? There we go. So that's more or less what it's going to look like. So we'll actually try coding it in the next video.